we've got the weekly coaches brief. This is my favorite. For me, this is where it all comes together, all right? The first system, the standards, that sets the expectations. That's big picture, all right? This one is how we're going to execute it, all right? This is how we're going to make sure that it actually gets done every single day. This is 2 documents that you're going to use. One is going to be at the start of class. One is going to be just before the end of class, right? While everyone's packing up their equipment and that kind of stuff. And the goal of this system is to make sure that everybody has the information that they need to run the best class they can, right? The smoothest class they can. You got a coach that teaches 2 classes, 3 classes a week, right? You as the owner even, how are you meant to remember every member's details, right? Every single injury, everything that they've got going on in their personal life, all right? All of this, it's unreasonable. I don't care how awesome we think we are. We're humans. We've got limited bandwidth. If it's unreasonable for us as owners, it's definitely unreasonable to expect that of our team. So we need to make sure that we've got some sort of tool that we can give them that helps them with that. And that's the weekly coaches brief. So 2 pages, first page, as you can see, before class, right? 5:30 class, bring it in. And in the time it takes them to walk from over on the side to get in front of me, I can check this whole page out. I know everything I need to know. I'm good to go, all right? So the first section, head coach's intent. What is the purpose of this workout, right? If I'm interpreting this differently and then the next coach interprets it differently and then the next one, you've got no consistency in the core of your service, right? The thing that people come for, pay for, stay for, it's inconsistent. So you may as well not have programming. You may as well just let the coaches make up their own workout every single day because that's essentially what they're doing. So making sure that they understand the intent of the workout. Are we trying to melt our face and go all out and make this a real grinder? Or are we trying to work on movement quality, hold the standard, take our time with the reps? What is it? Well, we're going to make sure that they understand that. Cool. So that's the first section. Second section, injury management. All right. Again, I can't keep track with every member and what they've got going on. So we track this every single week. So I can start the class and go, all right, before we get started, what do we got? Johnny, I know your knee's giving you a bit of grief. We're going to change that in today's workshop. Sarah, how's your back feeling? Okay, we're going to change that. And Joanne, I know you've got your thing. We'll talk about that in a second. Anyone else got anything I need to know about? All right, and every single coach is going to have that smooth knowledge every single class. All right, they're not just going to have to ask and bumble. You're not going to have new coaches have a member say, oh yeah, I've got this. And they look blankly going, I've never even heard of that body part. Let alone do I know how to treat this, how to scale around this, all right? This system is going to give them everything they need to know. The member, the injury, sometimes we leave the injury blank, especially if it's something sensitive. Obviously, if we've got a member, like in that situation, Sarah, she was pregnant in her first trimester. She hasn't even told her family yet. We're going to leave that one blank, right? But we can put the restrictions in there so the coach can apply that to the workout. The secondary benefit to this is you're going to start tracking your injuries, right? That probably sounds like a good idea. Everybody who loves programming wants to track the positive side of their programming, right? The results, the PRs. Not many people want to track injuries. If you do this, and I've seen lots of boxers do this, where after a couple of months, you start to see, shoulder, neck, shoulder, back, shoulder, knee, shoulder. All right, maybe we've got a pattern here, right? Maybe we need to address this. That's a positive thing. Cool. And then lastly, before class, member notes. This is everything else. Maybe you've got a member who's going through something personal outside of the gym, and we need to take that into account during class. We pop that in there. Maybe you've got a member who's getting ready to run their first marathon this weekend, and they're just going to go through the motions this week. But I don't want my coaches to think that they're sandbagging, so I'm going to let them know. Maybe I've got a troublesome member. All right, they keep turning up to class, rude, like late, so late that it's rude, right? Give your coaches permission to say, hey, look, if they turn up more than 5 minutes late, kick them out of class, all right? Whatever it is, this member notes section is really, really powerful. I've seen a bunch of times in my gyms and a lot of others how this has helped members in a big way and avoided some pretty catastrophic situations. So that's the first page, all right? Really simple. As the class is coming over, quickly, what's the head coach intent? Are there any of these people that are injured that I need to know about? And what member notes apply to this class? That's it. And now I have the tools I need to teach a really consistently high quality class. Cool. So that's page 1. Page 2, pretty simple. So this again is at the end of class, all right, while they're putting their gear away, but not, you haven't dismissed them yet, right? They're not leaving and walking out the door, right? Number 1 is going to be gym announcements. Really common, right? Really common complaint I get from boxers is, man, no one shows up to our social events. You know, we do apparel launches, no one buys the damn things. The members keep on parking out the front when I tell them not to, right? It's all about consistency. It usually means that you told them about that social event once, and that was it. Or you put it up on the whiteboard and expected them to read it, or you announced it in your Facebook or your WhatsApp group and expected everybody to drop everything and be as obsessed about your business as you are. It's not how it works, all right? If we want people to know about things, we need to tell them and then tell them and then tell them and tell them and tell them. We're all just big, tall, hairy kids. We need that repetition. So that's what the first section is going to do for us, all right? Now, what does this look like? Isn't this going to be a disruption to the class and take away from training time? No, all right? At the most, it would be, all right, before you guys go, don't forget, next weekend we're going paddleboarding. You can sign up at the front. Also, we've got the new apparel dropping next week. You can pre-order at the front counter as well. And guys, please don't park out the front. Our neighbors get upset. During business hours, please just park around the back. Right? An extra 20 seconds to class, and now everybody's on the same page. All your members are hearing the same thing again and again and again. The message is actually getting across. Cool? So that's gym announcements. Now everybody's gone. All right, we've finished the class. Whoop, wrong one. Now we can move on to member milestones. All right, I'm very excited about this, by the way. For the last, how old am I? For the last 22 years, nearly 23 years actually, this has been called Attaboy cards. Anyone who's worked with me in the past will have known this as Attaboy cards. I've hated that name for 23 years, all right? It's so overly Americanized, and I don't know, it just made me cringe. A couple of weeks ago, one of the box owners we work with, they changed it to member milestones. I love that. It's a lot more accurate to what it is. That's what it's called now. So what is going on with our members that deserves to be celebrated, right? Maybe someone PR'd in class, right? And it was something special, not just, you know, your strongest guy just PR'd. That's his job. But maybe Sarah, who's deathly afraid of heights, got her first rope climb after 3 years in the gym. Awesome. That's definitely worth being celebrated, right? But also, what about outside of the gym? We want to be a part of their life as a whole, right? We want to be their third home. So did they just hand in their PhD dissertation? That's worth celebrating. Did they just have a kid? That's worth celebrating. Maybe they just bought their first home. That's worth celebrating. So it doesn't matter what it is. We're going to celebrate it where appropriate with the member milestones. So all I have to do as a coach is just write down, Coach Ty saw Coach Sarah do this, right? Then that goes to each week to whoever's in charge of retention, and they decide what we're going to do with it, right? Usually we send them a postcard, right? The more digital our society gets, the more meaningful postcards get. They're incredibly cheap to get done, and they mean a lot to your members, all right? So maybe it's a postcard. Maybe it's something that just warrants a post in your private WhatsApp or Facebook group celebrating that person. Maybe it's just something that each of the coaches are going to go up individually to that member over the next week and give them a high five saying, hey, I heard you just did this great thing. Good on you, man. That's awesome. Doesn't matter what it is. If we don't acknowledge it, if we don't record it, it'll never get done. Cool. So that is where the system is kind of done. It's ended. Now all we have to do is one of the most important and forgotten parts of any system, which is accountability. All right? How do I make sure that the people who are meant to do the thing actually did the thing? And that's this section, coach acknowledgement. It says, by initialing below, I acknowledge that I have read and understood this brief before and after every class. So every class I teach, once I've done all of this, I'm just going to initial in there. If I've taught 3 classes today, I'll have 3 initials. All right. It's not I do it at the start of the day and then just remember. We're humans. Our memory sucks. We're going to read everything every single day. This goes for you as well. Actually, this goes for you as the owner more so. Right? How do we lead? By example, by example, by example. So this is how we make sure that they're actually following the system. Again, could they just tick and flick and fill that out without actually following it? Yeah, sure they could. Hopefully I've done the right job in number 1, hiring the right people so that they don't do that. And number two, explaining to them why this matters from the member's point of view, right? Getting our coaches to understand how our members are getting a far better experience, a more consistent experience, because we have this very simple system in place. Cool. So our coaches should want to do this. Yeah, that's our job as leaders.